A lot of people would say, I love myself. Do you really love yourself? Are the things that you're doing, the people that you're hanging out with, and the places and the circles that you're traveling in, does that reflect a person that actually loves himself? If you love yourself, why would you fuck with those type of people? You know what they're saying about you behind your back. You know that they don't like you. And because you're so desperate to have people around you, you continue to go back. I'm not preaching separatism. I want a bunch of people to just be alone. I'm saying you are old enough and mature enough to understand the difference in good people and bad people.
You want to begin to get all the toxic people out of your life. Toxic relationships are relationships with people that always criticize you. All they can do is just exploit your weaknesses. All they can do is remind you of the mistakes that you've made in the past. Toxic people can run your blood pressure up. I know people whose lives have been ruined because somebody wasn't good for them.
You cannot expect yourself to feel good about your day when you're including negative and dysfunctional people in your day.
You run around with losers, you will end up a loser. Unconsciously, you will pick up their ways, you'll pick up their habits, you'll pick up, most importantly, their attitude about life. If you're around cynical, negative people all the time, you will become cynical and negative. So you got to watch yourself. Many of us are living out the lives of other people, living out their conclusions, living out of their consciousness. Align yourself with people that can encourage you, people that can empower you, people that you can learn from, people that you can grow from. That's very important. See, if you have people around you that can contribute to your growth, see, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any motivation, any drive in order to stay down there on a low level. But it calls on everything in you, ladies and gentlemen. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself. Sometimes I have to pull myself out of bed and say, come on, Les. Things I know I should do, I don't do. Things I shouldn't do, I do.
You don't wake up in the morning and negativity, dysfunction, problems, and issues just randomly pop up. Because these are the type of people you've decided to include in your day-to-day life.
So you got to look at the people in your life and find out, what kind of person are you becoming because of that relationship? My mother used to say, you run around with losers, you will end up a loser.
God put people in your life for a reason. Others are there for a season. And it's very important that you recognize when people's seasons are over.
Make a list of who you communicate with most and ask yourself the question, what kind of person am I becoming because of this relationship?
Some people just don't really make sense for your life and the new season, the mind and the space that you're in. So if you had drugged that person, those family members, those situations into the new season of your life wouldn't be going as well as it's going right now.
My mother being a Sunday school teacher, teaching me about prayer and God, that was really helpful to me, you know. I mean, if you really want to be successful, you gotta have a lot of dog in you. You gotta be mean sometimes, because life ain't fair. Life is hard, man. It is not fair. Like you have happened to you that just, you go, man, why this happened? Because life ain't fair. But life ain't fair to nobody. You just gotta fight through, man. You gotta bite back sometimes. It's like haters. When you get haters, you know, people's opinion of you is none of your business. I have lots of haters. They on the internet all the time. But who are they though? So I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know me. So I just keep going through. But then I tell you something too, haters motivate me. Because when they talking about me, that means I'm doing something. If you have no haters, if you don't have any haters, you ain't doing nothing, man.
Sometimes God will let us go through seasons where we're not getting what we expect from people, to teach us to not rely on another person, but to get our encouragement, our worth from Him. Like a mother weans a baby off a bottle so the child can grow up, God is going to wean you off having to have people's compliments. Doesn't mean it's never going to happen. It means you're going to get to a place where you're not dependent on them complimenting you, keeping you encouraged. It's nice to hear, but you've developed this self-sufficiency. Because the higher God takes you, there will be more disapproval, more opposition, more critics. If you're basing your worth on how people are treating you, you're trying to keep all of them happy, you'll never become everything God created you to be. Quit trying to please people. You are not going to stand before people and give an account. You're going to stand before God. He's going to ask, did you fulfill my purpose for your life? The less you depend on people, the stronger your spiritual muscles are going to become and the higher you're going to go. God is going to give you victories where the odds were totally against you. You could overcome that obstacle if you had the strongest players. God is saying, don't worry about it. You don't have to have all those people. You and God are a majority. If you'll quit depending on people, the anointing will increase in your own life. You'll accomplish more with less people because of God's favor on your life. Are you discouraged because people are not giving you what they used to? It's because God's growing you up. Quit trying to get from people what only God can give. If you'll start passing these tests, not relying on people, you'll not only live more confident, more secure, you're going to overcome obstacles that looked insurmountable and reach the fullness of your destiny.
The fact that you're still alive and still on this earth, even though it's been challenging and rough, God has a plan. God is going to reveal to you why all of these issues, challenges, and problems continue to show up and what you were supposed to learn from it. You will grow through what you go through.
I look at myself every day, and I always come back to the conclusion, I can't be like everybody else.
Every time you break, and in every way that you break, while it's a chance, it's definitely a chance for you to give up and for you to just to fall apart.
Man, I remember I was stripped of everything I owned, from apartments, the cars, everything I came in contact with. I was stripped of. But all through them storms, them trials and them tribulations, I began to soar like an eagle. See?
Your results will turn those who ignored you into fame. Let your results speak louder than your voice. Can you hide yourself in the library? Can you hide yourself in the gym? Can you? Hide yourself in the boardroom and plan and do what's required behind the scenes. In order to manifest the moment, there are many people out there in the world that don't have the capabilities, not to carry on the good fight.
I don't want to be like everybody else. I never said that I was the best, but I'm going to be the best of myself. I'm going to be good within myself. I'm going to learn within myself. I'm going to seek everything that I need within myself. And I may not have everyone celebrating with me. Everybody's not going to clap for me. But I have to have the ability to celebrate for myself. I don't need to be a part of a crowd to feel good about who I am inside. You don't need to be a part of a crowd to know who you are inside. Because everything that everybody else is doing doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you.
all the hotels and plane rides, all of the audiences I spoke to, all of the money that I missed out on because I didn't know that I didn't know, and I thought I knew. I was a big fish in a small pond. I can't tell you, if you don't get anything else, you have to look at your relationships and you've got to ask yourself the question, what is this relationship doing to me? And I mean in every area of your life. When the doctor looked at me and said, you have cancer. Cancer is the most feared word in 7 different languages. One of the first things I had to do, I found out who had cancer at some point in time or was living with cancer and conquered it. I surrounded myself with people who had done what I wanted to do, who were winning at the game. See, it's very important, every area of your life. If you want to improve your health, start hanging around healthy people. They did a 30-year study.
You don't need to be like everybody else, but you need to be the best of yourself. Be able to feel good about who you are, what you are, and what you are ultimately made of. Because without that, how far are you willing to go? Don't sacrifice yourself to please others. Don't give all of your energy to people who really don't care about you. Make sure you understand the significance and how you go about your life.
Why do you feel that you need to be a part of a group or some kind of an organization to feel important? Do you feel that it's necessary for you to stand out because you're a part of a group?
And said that the reason that most people are obese, it's a mind virus. Listen to what they said. A mind virus is communicated mind to mind. That if you have a friend that's fat or you marry somebody that's obese, you have a 41% to up to 161% of becoming obese yourself. Even if they live in another state. Whoa, why? Because birds of a feather flock together. Never forget, high school teacher Mr. Leroy Washington said, Mr. Brown, if you run around with 9 broke people, I guarantee you, you'll become number 10. Whoa. Think about that. Part of your mindset development, not only listening, not only reading, but you have got to look at your relationships, upgrade your relationships, and continue to evaluate them and make sure they're an asset to you and not a liability. My son John Leslie is a motivational speaker. He has a saying, who should you count on and who should you count out?
There are things that are happening around us every day. The things that are happening to us right now happens for a reason. What you are going through right now, someone else is going through it in a different manner. But we always ask the question, why me? Why is this happening to me? Everybody wants destiny, everybody wants manifestation.
But there's also opportunity. There's opportunity to get stronger, and get smarter, and get faster, and get tougher, and get more stable, and get more resilient, and get better. When you break, you have the opportunity to show the world, the whole world, what you are really made of. So if you break, if you break.
The eagle is one of the only birds that when a storm is coming, he doesn't fly away, but he flies into the storm. And he uses the pressures of the storm to soar with using very little energy to soar above the storm to rise to an atmosphere of peace and security. Don't you want to soar? How would you use the storm to rise, to elevate? How would you use the storm to soar above everybody that told you you couldn't do what you're doing? And what drives you?
Everybody wants fulfillment. Everybody wants the next level and relationship and a higher quality of living. But nobody wants to eliminate distractions. Nobody wants to disappear for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and then eliminate all distractions. Get into a place where you can focus on just you. What if you could just shut out every distraction? What if you could just shut out the world for just a season and focus on you? Winning requires focus.
The fight isn't over. In fact, if you break, the fight is just beginning. As you rise above what you were, and as you take the form of who you are supposed to be, you will see that in the very act of standing up, in the very act of fighting on, you will become and you will remain unbroken.
I'm about doing permanent fixes so then you can move on. Be proud of the small steps that you take along the journeys. Be proud of the fact that you're moving forward and not moving back.
Because it don't matter how hard you go, when you're on a journey to go get what's yours, you will be knocked down. And I hope it's the faith that gives you the unwavering conviction, the courage, the dedication, what you sacrificing. Because being physically committed to the process without being emotionally attached to the outcomes is flying into the storm and asking yourself, what can I extract from this storm to soar, to rise to an atmosphere of peace and security?
I want you to know that you matter. Yep, I said you, not anybody else, but you. You matter. When you wake up in the morning, I want you to know what you do matters. I want you to understand that you matter because what you do could change somebody's life and the trajectory of what they can overcome. I want you to know you matter because you've got people that are depending on you right now. You may have some kids. You may have some younger siblings. You may have mom, dad, grandma. There's somebody out there that's depending on you. So I want you to know that you matter. You have the ability, and you have the tools, and the power, and all of the amazing characteristics that are on the inside of you, and ready to see you walking on your purpose and who you were called to be, and what you were called to do. Because you and I are the aspirin for somebody's headache. How long are you going to let them suffer? So, I want you to know that you matter, and I'm depending on you because you matter. And nobody can tell you what you can't overcome if they've never been through it. I want you to trust the process. I want you to understand all it takes is to believe in yourself and take action right now. Because you can't dream all day with no action. So, I'm challenging you, staying with 10 toes down because you may feel like nobody supports you, because they told you that it never happens. I need you to stay 10 toes down because you have the ability to do it. You can turn your dreams into reality. You have the ability to leave a legacy. So, what am I telling you? I'm telling you, even though you're facing adversity right now, even though there's something that's bothering you in this moment, but I'm telling you that you matter and that I love you. Because the things that you are going through right now, the adversity that you're facing right now, the mountain that you need to move can only be moved by you. You were created for greatness, and you can achieve it. You will have to become someone you've never been before. You want to go somewhere you've never gone. You got to do something you've never done. You've got to say something you've never said. You've got to go to a place in you that you've never, ever been. You get to redesign. You are your Michelangelo. You are your greatest sculptor, and you get to recarve, and you get to up-level as much as you can. You are not sentenced to this life. You chose it. Never forget that you have the power to choose. You get to choose as much as you want. You have to design it in any way you choose. You are not sentenced to your future. You have an opportunity to your future. You are the designer of your life and the author of your story. What do you want and how do you want it? And if it doesn't make you afraid, then you ain't playing big enough. Your knees are supposed to knock a little bit. Your teeth are supposed to chatter a little bit. There's supposed to be at least 2 butterflies in your stomach, at least, because if not, you're playing inside your comfort zone. And we mistake the fact that we're supposed to be comfortable 24/7. But let me tell you something. Comfortable is the equivalent to complacent. You have to choose inconvenience every day to make a difference on the planet and leave your fingerprint on it. So I just talk to the game changers who are willing to confront any part of you that's not speaking to your amazing future. Ask yourself, what's my dream? I want to challenge you to play in the biggest field you've ever played in. I want to challenge the fear that might be inside of you and to redesign and reprogram it. You look at it long enough, you will be with it intimately enough, and it has to dissipate. You are the designer of your destiny. You are the author of your life. No one can write your financial story. No one can write your emotional and spiritual story, but only you. The pen and paper has always been in your hand, and ask yourself, what's my dream? What are you willing to do that you've never done before? What are you willing to say that you've never said before? Are you willing to stand at the edge of your own greatness? Are you willing to look at your fears? Feel the breeze of possibility, not knowing if you will fly or fall. Are you willing to not quite know what's there, but that something is there is greater than you? Are you willing to say, my life has to make a huge difference, but it's going to cost you more time than you thought you'd have? It's going to cost you more money that you thought you would invest. It's going to cost you some friends who couldn't make the entire journey with you. It's going to cost you that sense of, oh my God, I got to die to the old me to allow the new me to be born to my future.
I was 27 years old and I was like miserable. Just kept trying to figure out what my life was for. 2 most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. And at 27, I just hadn't figured out the why. And I walked into a comedy club October 8th, 1985. I won amateur night that night. I went to work the next day and quit my job. The day I quit, my boss, he talked me right out of it. He said, Steve, you're not even funny. He said, are you kidding me? You've got a family. You put that stuff back on your desk, but don't you ever come in here again with something ridiculous. You're going to be a comedian. Dude named Russell Middlebrooks came up to me and said, hey, Harv, I thought you was quitting today, man. I said, no, I talked to Tom and he told me I wasn't funny. He said, he don't know you. You the funniest dude I know. And then he looked at me, he was so hurt. He said, damn, dog, I told everybody you was leaving today. He said, man, I can't believe you letting that tell you what to do. And I took that box right back in there. I said, Tom, I'm really funny. I'm going to make it. He said, I'll tell you what, you leave out this door, don't ever come back in here again. He said, you're making a huge mistake leaving your family out like this. Probably about 20 years after that, he was at a show. And he said, I came to the show, I saw this Steve Harvey. He said, oh my God, I always knew you were going to make it. None of my family believed it. The only family member I had that thought it was a good idea was my father. And he just said, son, if you think you can make it, get on out there and get your stuff. My father was born in 1914. My grandfather was born into slavery. My grandfather was a slave till he was 12. And my dad was the only one who believed it. Everybody else told me no. Laughed at me.
Not only is it possible for you to have your dream, but it's necessary. that you have it, that you go for what is yours in the universe. I have a friend that I said, I want you to work with me. I called her up. She said, Les, are you sure I can do it? Sure you can. If I can do it, sure you can do it. In fact, I'm going to give you the support. So I was telling her that I knew she hated her job with a passion. See, a lot of people go to work every day miserable, and all they do is just talk about how miserable they are. But they don't do anything about it. And we've been going through this for years, ladies and gentlemen. She brought her husband, and that was one of the major problems that I realized. He couldn't see it for her. So you got to make sure that you have people in your life that can see it for you. So I said, but if you can't see it for her, don't tell her that. Just give her some support. What if you're wrong? You've seen her speak. She's got great speaking skills. You've got a great woman here. But you see, people who can't see it for themselves can't see it for you. So I said, will you do it with me? I said, I'm going to give you the support you need. You can't do it by yourself. I will stand with you. She said, okay. 3 days later, I got an emergency call at my office. It was from my husband. He called and said, tell Les Brown that Marion is dead. And I remember the last time that I saw her, and I had some of her papers. And what got me, what was so sad that made me begin to cry, was that there were poems that she had started that were profound poems, great thoughts, that she didn't complete. That poem was given to her. I can't finish that for her. That play, whatever the outcome that she had envisioned, was given to her. I believe all of us have some purpose for being here. And I was reading a newspaper that said that millions of people are dying because of what they're eating, talking about their diet. So that even more are dying because of what's eating them. You've got to find ways to increase your sense of self-appreciation, because if you don't, you will find yourself unconsciously engaged in self-destructive behavior. If you don't program yourself, life will program you. The major key to your reaching your dreams, your making your contribution, is you. When I wanted to get on public television, you know, they told me, you can't do that. Hold time out. Let's be realistic. I said, well, wait a minute. Why can't I do it? Let's look here. You don't have any college training. No. Give me a break. What people think about you and the possibilities for your dream is none of your business. They have no imagination, ladies and gentlemen. They're living out of the past, out of their memory. The attitude is it can't be done because they haven't seen it. The people that are going to make it in the future, let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination. You look at your life, you look at what you produce. Are you doing all you can do? Have you gotten comfortable? Are you surrounding yourself with people that can nourish you? Are you learning something different? Is your life an adventure, or is it boring? What decisions are you making right now as you look into the future? You don't want to ever put yourself in a situation where you have a limited vision and you're only using a limited amount of your talents and of your abilities. And I'm saying to you that it's necessary that you get outside of your comfort zone, that you do reading, that you do research. It's necessary that you don't be satisfied with where you are. If you want to make it today, it's necessary for you to constantly look at ways of getting better. This is not going to be it for my life. I deserve more than this. Think about Mr. Washington. Young man, yes, sir. What do you want to do with your life? I want to buy my mother a home, sir. I want to take care of my mother. I want to make my mother proud. How can you say you want to make your brother proud and you were in the dean's office the other day for fighting? Sir, they call me DT, the dumb twin. How do I get even, sir? Tell me. They pick on me all the time. I'm not like my brother. They always compare me to him. Mr. Brown, you want to get even? Yes, sir. Remember these words by Frank Sinatra. The best revenge is massive success. Become massively successful. That's how you become even. Mr. Brown, why did you sign those papers? I fought for you. I saw something in you. You've got greatness in you. I know you're not as fast as your brother. There's a hunger in you, sir. When I saw your name, I couldn't believe it. Why did you do that? Several teachers met with me and said that you wouldn't be with me at Florida A&M University to help me. I would not make it at Florida A&M. You've been like a father to me. I never would want to bring embarrassment to your name. He said, I don't care what they say. But did you believe that you could go there and graduate? Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief is in. Let us say together, it's possible. I can live my dreams. I will work on myself. I will retrain my thinking every day. I would read 10 to 15 pages of something positive every day. I will turn off my television and turn on my life. Let us say together, it's necessary to detoxify your life. Look at the people in your life and ask the question, what is this relationship doing to me? There are some people you need to let go. Let us say together, let go or be dragged. They're emotional vampires. They will drain you. Les, can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself. There's some people that's so negative, they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop. You're talking about earning more money. You got to be serious. People say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. Here's something else. Write this down. You're going to fail your way to success. There are people who should be there to encourage you. They're going to be the #1 members of the discouragement club. You have a dream, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will have tribulations. And don't complain. Don't go around telling everybody. 80% don't care. 20% glad it's you. Suck it up and make it happen. Everybody, let us say together, leap and grow your wings on the way down.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, do it with everything that you have. Develop the habit of giving more than what you're paid for. Develop the habit of setting standards that others will be measured by. Do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail.
Yeah, so in order to change a belief or a perception about yourself and your life, you got to go all in. It's not like you go 50% in. You got to go all in. You got to make a decision with such firm intention that the amplitude of that decision carries a level of energy that causes the body to respond to the mind, that the choice that you make becomes a moment in time you'll never forget. And you would say, I remember the moment I made up my mind to change. And the stronger the emotion you feel, the more you'll pay attention to the decision. And that's a huge stone.
The process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain.
There's a bigger dream waiting for you, just waiting for you to step into it. To step into it. Your life is big. Your life is huge. And we spend so much time wanting to be in somebody else's life. And you don't get honored, you don't get revered, you don't get celebrated wanting what somebody else has.
But momentum requires you always do the next thing to keep the momentum going. And the reason you get yourself in a passionate place is so that you change your life, and the only thing that changes your life is making a decision. So while you're in this passionate state, that's where you make decisions. If you make a decision in a state without momentum, if you make a decision from a place where there's no passion, you are not going to get momentum. It'll kill momentum. It's decide, commit, and resolve.
Well, the first thing I would say is, well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. First thing you want to do is dispense with the idea that you get to have any any permanent security outside of your ability to contend and adapt. It's like you're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. You might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that.
Yeah.
And if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
It's okay to settle. It's okay to give up. And that is the instinct you need to fight. You need to push back, to smash into the ground. Do not take the easy way out. Do not give up based on instinct.
I don't remember now, I'm not talking about what makes you happy. It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice.
Instinct that says, you've had enough. This is the instinct that says, you've given it your best shot. You can stand down. You can back off. You can take a knee. This is the instinct that says, you can rest now. Do not listen to that instinct. Do not listen.
If you are not defined by some vision that is bigger than you, and you are not passionate about that vision, then you're left with the old hardware of the past in your brain, and you will be predictable in your life. So would you agree then? New thoughts, new information should lead to new choices. New choices should lead to new behaviors. And new behaviors should create new experiences. And new experiences should produce new emotions.
Most people are not accumulating wealth. Most people are living in poverty. Most people are living far below their potential. Not because they don't have the capacity, not because they have not been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, but most people are living like they're living because of the fact that they don't believe they can have any more than what they now have.
A resilient person is capable of standing up to things in the face of fear and moving forward voluntarily, convinced of their own competence and ability to prevail.
If you break, the fight is just beginning. And as you crawl up and out of that dismal and wretched place, as you rise above what you were, and as you take the form of who you are supposed to be, you will see that in the very act of standing up, in the very act of fighting on, you will become and you will remain unbroken.
So every day you have to sell yourself and get out of your mind those old thoughts, that old belief system. Every day you got to sell yourself on that it's possible.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control, where we inspire and motivate you. Hope you enjoy the video.
Now here's the phrase that goes with it. Wages make you a living, which is fine. Profits make you a fortune, which is super fine. And you can live both fine and super fine. You've now got the mechanism and the ways and means to do that. Profits are better than wages. Guess what? I taught this in Moscow when I was teaching capitalism. You know, the communists had it all wrong. They taught that capitalism was, a big company that oppresses its workers. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. They had mentally lost it when they came up with this ridiculous philosophy. Communism taught capital belongs to the state, not the people. And we taught all these years what? Capital belongs in the hands of the people, not the state. That's why, of course, kids should pay taxes, because they can be capitalists, and all capitalists should pay taxes. And it doesn't take much to start an enterprise that makes a profit. I teach kids how to have 2 bicycles, one to ride and one to rent. I mean, you know, how long does it take? How long does it take to make a profit? I mean, a little ingenuity and you're on your way. So profits are better than wages. Capitalism better than communism. Communism said people are too dumb and stupid to know what to do with capital. So you must take capital away from all the dumb, stupid people and give it to the all-wise, all-knowing state. And let the state run everything. I mean, that was communism. And they devastated every country they touched. I've been to East Germany. It's taking $1 trillion just to clean up East Germany. They've already spent $500 billion. They got $500 billion more to go. I mean, every country they touched, and I've been in all of them, they devastated them all with their devastating philosophy. We teach capital belongs in the hands of the people. That's where the ingenuity is to bring goods and services to the marketplace. But once I understood this now, it was so incredible. Profits are better than wages. Now, when I first was recruited, I'm a distributor for this little product called a Funda Vida. And here's what my mentor said, Mr. Show. He said, Mr. Owen, you can start this miracle working business part-time. You don't have to go full-time, you can start part-time. And he said, if you'll devote, to start with, let's say 10, 12, 15 hours a week, where you'll start making a profit, here's what you can now say. I'm working full-time on my job and part-time on my fortune. Because profits lead to fortune. I got so excited about that philosophy. I'm working full-time on my job, but now I'm working part-time on my fortune. I found a way not only to make a living, you won't believe this, I found a way to make fortune. Can you imagine what that's like then to get up in the morning? To go to work on your fortune? Not to go to work to pay the rent, which is okay, but a chance to go to work to make a fortune? And I said, right now I'm working part-time on my fortune and full-time on my job, but it won't be long until I'll be working full-time on my fortune. Can you imagine what life is going to be like? Now, here was my first goal when I started, and that was part-time. I wanted to equal on my profits part-time what I was earning on my full-time job. This is called the magic of part-time. It is so thrilling for people to start working the business part-time, because now you can work on profits, and it doesn't take very long. If you'll really concentrate on those 10, 12, 15 hours a week, it won't be long if you really do it right and learn some of the skills I'm going to talk about. It won't be long until you can be earning as much part-time working on your fortune as you are full-time working on your job. I did that in less than 6 months. Now I've got an incredible invitation. I found a way part-time to work on my fortune, and I'm making as much money at that as I am on my full-time job. Would you like to hear my story? It was incredible. Now here was my second goal, to make twice as much money part-time working on my fortune as I was working full-time on my job. And I reached that in less than a year, making twice as much money part-time working on my fortune as I was full-time working on my job. Now I've got an incredible invitation that won't quit. I found a way, through a unique opportunity, to work part-time on my fortune, and I'm now earning twice as much money as I am working full-time on my job. Would you like to hear my story? Do you imagine anybody would say, no, I don't care to hear your story? No. Everybody I said that to said, wow, yes, what are you doing? I said, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. Now, when I started making twice as much money part-time as full-time, here's my dilemma. I didn't want to go full-time. And why not go full-time? And the reason was because I didn't want to give up my electrifying story. It was so powerful, nobody could resist the invitation to at least take a look. I didn't want to give it up. And I hung on for I don't know how long until it was, almost insane. And then finally, reluctantly, I gave up my full-time job. But now you can imagine, the thrill and excitement of going to work full-time on my future. That was incredible. Here's the next one. Philosophy that helped change my life. It's not what happens that determines your life future. It's not what happens that determines your life future. It's what you do about what happens. All of us are in like a little sailboat. And it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination, it's the set of the sail. So jot this phrase down. It's one of the best to understand. Kids need to understand it. The same wind blows on us all. The wind of disaster, the wind of opportunity, the wind of change. The wind when it's upside down, the wind when it's favorable and unfavorable. The same wind blows on us all. The economic wind, the social wind, the political wind. The same wind blows on everybody. The difference in where you arrive in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, the difference in arrival is not the blowing of the wind, but the set of the sail. And that's what learning is all about, to set a better sail this year than last year. To set a better sail. The first 6 years of my economic life, I wound up broke. Second 6 years, I wound up rich. You say, well, the Democrats must have finally gotten power. No. It was not a political change. Here's what changed the second 6 years of my economic life. It was my philosophy that changed. The set of the sail of better thinking, correcting the errors of the past and picking up new disciplines for the future. That's all I had to do at the end of the first 6. Correct the errors of the past and then pick up some new disciplines for the future. And my total life changed. The second 6 years was totally different than the first 6 of my working life. And guess who can do that? Anybody. Now you can keep on the same path for the next couple of years as you have the past 2. But if you wish to, and maybe everything's okay for you and you don't need to, but if you need to make some changes, I'm telling you, you can start doing it today so that the next 2 years will be drastically different than the last 2. And anybody who wishes to do that can. And you can do it between ages 40 and 43. You can do it between ages 13 and 50. You can do it between ages 60 and 62. Any 2 years, any 5 years that you wish to drastically change from the previous 5, you can do it. If you wish to. Now, this isn't written. This is not a law. Here's what it's called, opportunity. If you don't know you can drastically change your income, change your future, change your health, change your marriage, change everything. If you don't know that, some people then go year after year after year after year not making much change simply because they didn't get to the class. They never read the book. They never went to the seminar. They never made the discovery. They didn't seek for the knowledge of how could I make my life better. And if you just rock along, I'm telling you it's okay. Anybody can live any way they choose, but I'm here to tell all of you that if you wish to, it's possible to make the next 3 years totally different than the last 3. And all you have to do is just a few things. So if you got that one now, it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your income. It's not the blowing of the wind that determines your fortune. It's the set of the sail. And that's why we gathered here today. Maybe I've got some ideas that'll help you with a couple of little things about setting the sail of your thinking that might drastically give you multiplied more benefit the next 3 years than you've gotten in the last 2. So it's not what happens. What happens happens to everybody. Here's how the last 6,000 years reads. If you want to make a note of Jim Rohn's vision of history the last 6,000 years, here's how it reads. Opportunity mixed with difficulty. It's going to read like that, looks like, for the next 6,000 years. Opportunity mixed with difficulty. Now, sometimes there seems to be more opportunity than difficulty, and then sometimes there seems to be more difficulty than opportunity, but the mix isn't going to change. After expansion comes recession. But after recession comes expansion. Not to think so, see, is naive. And once you've got just a little of this stuff settled, then you know exactly what to do. You know exactly what to anticipate so you can be ready.
We'd like to thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.